Hello and welcome to my latest astrology special, and welcome if you're watching on YouTube or on video, and to my lovely podcast subscribers. Thank you for all your lovely comments that you have been sending me and leaving me. It really means a lot from the heart. Astrology has been a very big part of my life for nearly 4 decades, and this is part of my truth coming out now. Even though most people know me as a marketeer, actually behind the scenes, it's astrology which has been a long love for a very long time. So and I know so many of you have loved what I put out over the last 2 or 3 weeks, and I thank you from the heart for that. And I am now committing, I've said it, or I'm just about to say it, committing to, I'll do a video and a podcast once a week for you on whatever is coming up. So that can help you in your businesses. And if you don't understand astrology, don't worry, I'll try and make it really down to earth and clear for you, so as a business owner that you can make the right decisions for your business, and hopefully it will help you as you move forward into your business. So let me talk about what's coming up this weekend, because we've got a couple of major things happening this weekend which I wanted to tell you about. And we've got two things. Number one is Mars is going direct, and that's going direct on the 14th, which is Saturday, which is tomorrow, actually. I'm recording this on Thursday evening, so I'm having to think about this. So it's Thursday the 12th today, and I will put this out for you on Friday the 13th. So the Mars will be going direct tomorrow on Saturday the 14th. Now Mars, we've got Mars going direct at exactly the same time, not quite exactly the same time, but just before we have the new moon. Now the new moon becomes exact, I mean so exact, 1 minute apart, which is pretty close, at 8 minutes past 5 in the morning, should you want to get up that early, on Sunday morning. Personally, I might well be in bed at that time in the morning, but anyway, 15th of November, Sunday morning. And that's 2020, by the way, if anybody is watching in the future. So we've got this new moon, and this new moon is in Scorpio, in the first house, as far as where we are in the UK is concerned. Now, why this new moon and Mars direct is so important, and it's such an amazing combination in my opinion, and there's so much doom and gloom that's been happening around, and I get a bit fed up with the doom and gloom, so I like to focus on the positive and what we can take and what we can use positively. So this year has been a challenging year, just in case anybody's been living on the moon. There's been some stuff happening this year, and it's not quite over yet, but we are heading in the right direction now. So 2 weeks ago I spoke about the blue moon that was on Halloween, and that's a full moon. And a blue moon is just a full moon that happens twice in 1 month, normally sort of either end of the month. And it's rare, but it does happen, which is why we say once in a blue moon, because it's quite a rare occurrence, but it does happen. Now this blue moon that happened on the 31st of October was quite a magic one, because it signified the end of a karmic cycle. And it was, as we were running up to it, it was a really good time to have a good old clear out. And because it was aspected to Uranus, there was a lot asking you to identify who are you really, what is your truth. And that there's actually a lot of planetary activity just generally about uncovering the truth. This is the theme we're going to see over the next few months, uncovering the truth. And we're seeing that recently in the news, aren't we? Just over the last few days, we've seen things of truth coming to the surface, like Princess Diana's interview with, was it Martin Bashir, the journalist. I don't know what the actual truth is of that, but things are coming to the surface, and there's been another couple of things this week. But for your perspective, from your point of view, that full moon was saying, okay, well, we're at the end of a cycle now. It's now time to identify who it is that you really are, uncover your truth, which is when I started talking about my astrology. This is me uncovering my truth. But when we come to ends of cycles, we get to the beginnings of new cycles, and that's really thrilling and exciting. So, and even more exciting because of all the changes and happenings that have been going on this year, it's been preparing us. And I think I said in my, I think it was in the November forecast, I said that it's been like a boil needs lancing. And okay, I spoke about the US elections, but just generally this year has been, okay, there's a lot of stuff that's having to come out. And it's time for that to really come out, which means loads of horrible stuff happening, loads of wars, loads of conflicts, loads of unrest, people being unhappy, structures moving about, things that we don't like being locked down, for instance. So there's been a lot of that going on, but that is preparing us for a new future. And it's part of what's been happening is getting us to identify spiritually, I guess the right word, spiritually, what it is that we want. How is it that we really want to be living? Do we want to be living just for ourselves, or do we want to be living for the good of humanity and the human race? And all this year has been talking about that, and a culmination has been that this month is really the culmination of that, where all the astrology of the month is saying, okay, right, we've reached the end. There is a definite demand for truth, and I spoke about that in my November 2020 forecast, so go back and have a look at that if you haven't, because I'll talk about how it's less now about us and more about community, about lightening up and doing things for each other, and also for the planet, caring for nature and the planet that we're on. So that's where we've got to. Now, what this new moon is signifying, this new moon is in Scorpio. Now, well, this new moon is in Scorpio, and Scorpio is rebirth, it's regeneration, it's the start of new stuff. And it's Pluto, Mars, get my teeth back in, start again. Scorpio is ruled by Pluto and Mars. And we've got both of these planets are quite huge at the moment. So we've got the new moon is sitting in Scorpio. So that's about rebirth, regeneration, the start of new stuff. In the UK anyway, it's in the first house, which is a new beginning. But I think I would take this for the world, for spiritually, it is a new beginning. Now, if we look where Pluto and Mars is, and Mars particularly I wanted to speak about, because we've got this new moon, so this new beginning. New moons are always new beginnings. And it's a good thing, actually, if you're planning your business, if you're launching things, if you've got campaigns or new projects, always try and start them on a new moon if you want them to grow, because new moons grow to full moons, and you want that growth in a new project. If you want things to decline, then you launch them around a full moon or just after, because it's then a waning moon and it goes downwards for 2 weeks to the new moon. So you can use that lunar energy for yourself or for your business. So we've got, where was I going with this? So we've got this new moon, which is the new beginning, but we've got Mars going direct. Now, Mars goes direct on Saturday the 14th. And that's been retrograde since the 8th of September. Now, Mars is about action and about forward movement and momentum and really pushing forward. And it hasn't been in a particularly great place when it's retrograde, because it's not where it wants to be. It's going back. So when Mars is retrograde, it's a good time to prepare for action and get ready for action. And I liken it, looking at the astrology. So I'm looking at the chart, which is sitting down here. It's here is the chart that I'm looking at down here. So Mars and this moon, the Mars going direct, it's been like, when you pull the arrow back, and you have to pull, what's the thing called that the bow, you have to pull the string back on the bow a long way for that arrow to fly off into the future. And that's what it's been doing since the 8th of September, is we've been pulling back, and there's lots of other things going on. But now that Mars, we're going to let go of that on the 14th, when it goes direct on the 14th of November, just as this new moon happens. Now, Mars rules this new moon, because this new moon is in Scorpio, so this rebirth, regeneration. Mars is one of the ruling planets of Scorpio, and when I look at Mars is in Aries, which is its own sign as well. Mars rules Aries as well as Scorpio, so it's very happy there. It's not what, in astrology terms, when a planet is unhappy, we say it's debilitated. If it's in a sign it not very comfortable in. But Mars is very happy in Aries. So we've got this new moon of this new start, this transformation, powered by this forward direction now of Mars, which goes direct on Saturday. So it goes direct just as we have this new moon. So we've got this real forward burst of energy and forward momentum, and it will be like things get released. So I'll be quite interested to see what happens just globally, what events happen over the next few days as all this sort of energy builds and releases. Now, so that's a positive thing. So for your business, if you've got things that you can launch over the next few days, so after the new moon, so let Mars go direct on Saturday and then the new moon happen on Sunday. So by the time you've got up, in the UK anyway, by the time you got up on Sunday, and probably in the US, then excellent time to be launching stuff and moving forward. For you though, personally, if you've been uncovering what it is, if you've been identifying what it is in your inner spirit, what is it that you desire the most, what's your truth that you need to uncover? And as I said, I've spoken about this on the Blue Moon podcast, and I spoke about it on my November 2020 YouTube video and podcast, so it's worth going back to that. But what is your truth that you can uncover, because now is the time to really move forward with that. And Mars as well it's about being brave. It's being brave and taking action. So use that energy and face those fears and go forward with courage and be brave. I know you may still be quivering inside. To be completely honest and being very truthful with you, I am still pretty nervous, having come out as a marketeer. Everybody knows me as a marketeer, as an astrologer. Very few people knew that about me, but it's been in my life for a very, very long time, like, nearly 40 years. And I'm still nervous about that. And I'm trusting that the right people will see my videos and the right people will listen to my podcasts. And thank you for doing that. And that I can, through me finding my own truth and facing my own nervousness and fear and letting it come out and stepping into it. Actually, I read there's a book I've been reading recently, which is a novel. I think it was the Outlander series, and I can't remember who he was, but one of the people in the book was talking about leaning in. I think it might have been Jamie, who's the main character. He talks about leaning into the emotion, leaning into the anger, leaning into it, not fighting it, not pushing against it, but leaning into it. And if we lean into these things, we can let them happen, and they start dissipating, and they're not quite so frightening after all. So even though you may well feel fearful, as I have done, still do, if I'm being completely honest, about letting your own inner truth, who it is that you really truly are underneath everything, not who you think you should be, or who your parents expect you to be, or who society expects you to be, or who your partner expects you to be. Who is it that you are? Who is it that you desire to be? Because this is what this time is saying, is whoever it is that you really desire to be, that's inside, that's always either screamed to get out or just been knocking really quietly saying, hello, don't forget about me. We need to let that person out. And I know that voice, because sometimes it is screaming and sometimes it is really quiet. And you'll know if you've got it, because a lot of the time we ignore it, don't we? And we batten it down and we say, no, I'm this, aren't I? I am a marketeer. But was that what I was born to be? You know, I'm very good at marketing. I've been doing it for 30 years. But when I was born, what were my interests? What was in me inherently? What was in you inherently? And, you know, so if you look back at your childhood and look at those interests and those passions that have been around for far longer than your actual career, and, you know, hopefully it is the same, and that's marvelous if it is. But, you know, go right back. What is it that you've been passionate about all this time? And Mars is about passion. Scorpio is a passionate sign. So, you know, both of these are saying, and Scorpio as well is about the truth. And it all comes back to the truth of who you are. And there's another bit I want to talk you through as well. But if we can go back to our childhood and our early days, we will often find when we first start developing those real passionate interests that then become lifelong passions and interests. And the type of passions that you could talk to anybody about for any length of time, perhaps that you could get up on your soapbox about and wax lyrical about it. If you go back to those, what is it? And maybe it's something that you're really passionate about in your teens and your 20s perhaps, and then got buried underneath your career. And then as the years go by, or in my case, the decades go by, as the years go by, those initial passions and interests that perhaps never left you start knocking a little bit louder. Because as we spiritually grow, and as we, you know, we physically grow, we mentally grow, and we spiritually grow. As we spiritually grow, and as we get older, we start realizing that there's probably more to this life than the 9 to 5 or whatever it was that we're doing. And and we start thinking that, you know, maybe I could do that. Oh, no, don't be silly. But it's that don't be silly thing we need to get rid of and start looking at who it is that you really are. And that this is what the astrology at the moment is asking of us. And I know I've said this before, but it's here again, that who are you What is your truth? What do you desire? Who is it that you desire to be? Who can you wake up to be? That's you. And this is what this is saying. This is what this Scorpio, all these words I've been using, you know, this desire, that's a Scorpio word. The getting this new beginning, this transformation, this uncovering the truth. This is all in this new moon, sitting very, very tightly together in Scorpio, and it's ruled by Mars, which is giving us the energy and the courage to go forward, lean into it, and start letting the truth of you come out. So I really want you to think about this inner desire that you've got. I spoke to somebody on LinkedIn recently, and if you're watching this, you'll know who you are. And she said that she was talking about her engagement on social media, and she said the engagement I get is for the stuff that I don't prepare and I speak from the heart about and I'm very passionate about, but that's not in alignment with my business. So I said to her, well, maybe you need to have a look at what your business is, and can you bring your business and what you do in alignment with this passionate version of you? What is it that you're passionate about, and can you bring those two in alignment? Because if you can bring that passion and your business together, that's where you'll get, if I say success, and yes, it will probably lead to financial success if that's what you're after, but I think success first of all has to come spiritually in here, and where you feel joy and fulfillment, and true joy and fulfillment, and love for what you do and who you can serve through being your best version of yourself. And you can only ever be the best version of yourself if you are being all of yourself, and you are uncovering this truth of you and letting that come out. That's how you can be the best version of you. That's how you can get the most success, because the most success comes from you being joyful and fulfilled and full of love. For, you know, if we love what we do, we are full of love, and that starts rippling off around the world, doesn't it? Because your joy is catching that positivity, that fulfillment, that richness that you feel in your heart. That's where it truly lies. So that's what you're trying to get to. Now, I want to add on to this, because we've got, I'd write down these notes, we've got aspect in this new moon, we've got Jupiter sextiling the new moon. We like sextiles. They're that's 60 degrees apart, and it's a nice, easy relationship. Now, when we've got Jupiter aspecting it, and by the way, with the new moon is, we've got the moon is about emotions, but the new moon means that the moon and the sun are in exactly the same place, and the sun rules our identity and who we are inside. So this Jupiter sextile this new moon, so therefore the moon and the sun, we've got, that gives us, so Jupiter is about growth and expansion. So it gives us, oh, and it brings opportunities as well. So it gives us opportunities for growth and expansion. It gives optimism. It's a fantastic aspect. It gives us optimism, hope, and things are going to grow and be better in the future. Now, interestingly, Jupiter also signifies a teacher or a guide. So, you know, I would take this as really positive. And we've got, you know, Jupiter at the moment is sitting in this stellium that, if you remember, I spoke about this last time. A stellium is where you get 3 or more planets together, all nice tightly together next to each other in a conjunction. And Jupiter, for a little while now, has been together with Pluto and Saturn, all sitting together in Capricorn. So there's lots I could talk about that. I won't on this time. I'll try and do that next time, because that's an important stellium, and that's been the feature of this year. so if you just look back over this year, that probably sums up that stellium. So Jupiter has been sitting in there. Now Jupiter moves, so just looking at my dates, Jupiter moves into Aquarius, so it moves out of that stellium and it moves into Aquarius on the 20th of December. So by the time we get to Christmas, we are going to be feeling so much better. We are going to look forward to next year. Now we've also got, just to add to that, we've got Neptune, which has been retrograde for a little while, but that goes direct at the end of this month on the 29th, but that's been in a trine aspect to, or that's in a trine aspect to the new moon. Now trine is 120 degrees apart. That's another nice, easy, beautiful aspect. So we like trines, and that's interesting because I see trines as quite a spiritual aspect amongst other things, and Neptune is a pretty spiritual planet. So it's asking us to, this is a spiritual combination. It's asking us to get in touch with who we are, our spirit inside. Now, when I talk spirit, I respect all religions out there and whatever faith you follow. I'm not talking about a followed faith or religion. I'm talking about this inner spirit that we all have, and that there is the you inside of your body. This bit is not us. It's not who we are. This bit is just physical. And if you've ever been in a situation, and benefit is the wrong word, in a place where you've been with somebody when they've passed away, and I did 5 years ago when my mum passed away, and it wasn't morbid at all, and I held onto her arm, and she passed away, and she died. She had cancer, so we knew it was coming. And when somebody passes away, the essence of who they are, their spirit, them just isn't there anymore. And when you look at their body, it's just a shell. It's not them. So your spirit, the essence of who you are, uses this physical body to communicate and move about. We need all of that, but your spirit is so much greater than this physical body. So this is what Neptune is saying, is that stop thinking of yourself in 2D. Start thinking of yourself in 3D or 4D or 5D. Can you get 5D? I have no idea. So think of yourself as a spiritual being first. And if you can think of yourself as a spiritual being, this again is talking about getting in touch with who you are, your desires. What does your spirit desire? Don't come at it from an intellectual point of view, because you'll never get the right answers. You need to feel it, and feel it from your solar plexus, from your gut, where your intuition, your whatever is within the very heart of you, and you'll know what it is. Let that do the talking, not your intellect. Your intellect will come along and you'll say, oh no, you shouldn't be doing that. No, you're a marketeer, you're a piano teacher, you're a builder. Don't let it say that. You need to, if that's what you love to do and that's your passion, and that's been your passion since the beginning of time, fantastic. But if you're just doing it just because you've kind of got into that, but your spirit desires something else, then you need to listen to it. This is the time to listen to it. So that's what Neptune is saying to us. Now we've also got Pluto. Oh, do we love Pluto? Pluto has been causing so many problems this year. Pluto, whenever Pluto touches something in your chart, so if you have your natal chart, so that's the charts, your birth chart, what you were born with, And what happens is the planets move around over the months and the years. And you want to be looking, or as an astrologer, what I would look at is your, what are called the outer planets. So we're looking at Jupiter and Saturn, Uranus, Neptune and Pluto, and they're the slower moving planets, and they will look at the trends and the big changes that are going to be happening in your life, or might explain happenings in your life. I don't tend to bother with the inner planets, so the Mercury, Venus and Mars, because they move around relatively fast. Mercury pretty fast, Moon pretty fast, Venus and Mars less so. So you can look at those, but the outer planets. Now, Pluto, whenever it touches something in your chart, you can normally expect some major transformations for when it touches. Interestingly, so I was just wondering whether to share this with you, but why not? When a few years after I divorced my first husband, I was looking at the transits on my chart, and it turned out that Pluto was sitting right on top of my natal Venus at the exact time that he and I went our separate days and split up and divorced. And Venus is the sign of our relationship. It signifies our relationships in our charts. So and me almost more so, because it also rules my 7th house, which is of my relationships and therefore marriage. So that was a bit of an interesting one. So Pluto will completely transform. It will break everything apart. It will blow everything up and transform. So we've got Pluto sextiling, however, this new moon. Now, remember I said sextiles are nice things to have. Pluto, depends how you view it. Transformation, big blow-ups and like volcanoes erupting, Plutonian energy, that's what it does. However, it's Pluto, so we're talking about new beginnings again. Remember, Pluto rules Scorpio, so we're new beginnings, transformations, new starts. So when we, and because it's sextiling the new moon, that's a positive. If it was squaring or making an opposition, that's going to be really difficult, and we would be fighting it and saying, oh, this is really uncomfortable, or I don't want this. But because it's making this nice, easy sextile aspect, and they become nice friends, well, actually, this is a change that we want to happen. This is a transformation that we want to happen. And it's a transformation and a new beginning and a new start at a spiritual level. And it's our spirit, our inner desires that are wanting to come out. We want this truth to come out because we've got the new moon in Scorpio, which is truth and new beginnings. We've got Jupiter talking about opportunities to grow and expand, and with all this optimism. We've got that Jupiter as well with that teacher and guide, as I said, to saying, yeah, please listen to this, and please listen to your inner spirit, and let me teach you the way, trust and go forward. So this combination to me is amazingly positive for us as business owners. So this would be a really amazing time to regenerate your business, regenerate yourself as a business owner, and look at, this time of year, we've spent this year in lockdown. And I was thinking today that actually, have I moved very far from this desk over this year? No, I don't think I have. So, this year we've been in lockdown. Next year is going to look very different. It will do. The astrology for next year is very, very different. And it will be lighter and it will be freer. We're still going to be dealing with COVID for a while, but it'll go. I'm thinking by spring, summer, which is now sort of tying in with the vaccination as well, which is good. But I'm sure I said it I think I said it on my podcast. I can't quite remember now, or I've said it in one of my social media posts. But COVID will go. So we're not out of the woods quite yet, but we are definitely moving in that direction. But as we move to the end of the year, and this is why all this planetary activity at this time of year is all coming up to the end of the year, and we're all now looking forward to Christmas. And you know, in my town, all the Christmas decks are going up, ready for the great light switch on. There are people on Facebook saying, oh, is it too early to put my Christmas decorations up? I would say yes, it is, because it's my birthday next week, and I have this rule that you can't talk about Christmas until after my birthday. So I might extend that rule to you. so yeah, let Christmas happen in December, but we've got Christmas to look forward to. We've got lockdowns hopefully easing over Christmas to allow us to see our friends and family again. But we've got the planetary activity is we've got Jupiter, as I said, is moving out of this tight stellium into Aquarius on the 20th of December, which is an entirely different energy. And Saturn as well, just before it, that moves into Aquarius on the 17th of December, so just 2 or 3 days beforehand. And that's when they move into Aquarius, this is just a whole new future that is, because they've been in Capricorn, it's been pretty heavy stuff and heavy mentally and heavy everything going on. But as they move into Aquarius, everything will start getting lighter and moving forward in leaps and bounds next year. And Aquarius does the leaps and bounds as well, and have unexpected things happen. So yeah, that for the end of the year, there's really positive stuff happening, and we're moving out of this end of cycle. We're moving into this brand new cycle where we're being asked to spiritually wake up. Who are you? Awaken to who you are. Find your inner truth. Find your inner desires, and go be that. And next year, enjoy Christmas, because we've got the hope and we can be optimistic about next year. I think this is a fantastic chart for this weekend. And it's not just this weekend, it's the energy that will help move us forward into next year. And take really, as a business owner, and you know, or even if you're not a business owner listening to this, take advantage of it and look at the positivity and find the real you, and go be that real you, and you will find that joy and fulfillment, and that success in that joy and fulfillment, and that genuine love for who you are and what you're about. And you will attract the right people to you as well, just as much as I am attracting I am trusting that I will attract you guys who are watching and listening to this, that you love listening to this. I hope you do. Please send me more comments in. I love to hear from you. And you will attract the right people. And as Jamie and Outlander said, lean into it. Allow Mars to help you. Allow Mars to give you the courage to move forwards into this just amazing new future. This is a good set of aspects going on this weekend. There's a lot of horrible stuff going on still, and I'm not ignoring that, but I like to focus on the positive, and let's use this positivity and look at this new beginning and move forward into a new beginning for us, a new spiritual way of being. Come from the inside first. Don't come from here, come from here. And I don't think we can go far wrong if we come from here. Spread some light, spread some joy, spread some happiness, because when you are following your true desires in here, that lightness will come out, because it's not It's not hard work, is it? When you're following your passions, there's never any hard work in it. It's not an uphill struggle. It's not, okay, you will get challenges in life. We all do. It just, it happens. And I'm not talking about the day-to-day challenges or the little bits that we have to deal with. That's all part of our growth. But as far as living our best selves, that shouldn't be a difficult thing to do. That should be an easy thing to do. And this is what all of this is saying to you, is live this easy life of you being you, because if you're living the best of you, the most inspired version of you, the spiritually guided version of you, then you are filled with a light and a lightness, which then spreads to other people. And you, by doing that, you serve the people around you and the world in a much better way, and they will have that positive effect too. So that lightness and that joy ripples out. And just lastly, before I go, if you remember in the November forecast, I was talking about those nodal points. And we've got the North Node in Gemini and the South Node in Sagittarius. And that is, they're not planets, they're points on a chart. And what they're saying is, we've got to move away from, it's all about me. We've got to move away from this selfish aspect, and we've got to move towards community and sharing and truth. This word truth keeps coming out. This is I think it's going to be the word for this year. Was either lockdown or unprecedented or something. I think the word for next year, well, in my world, would be truth. So it's about truth and community, and bringing, Gemini's quite light, so bringing that light and joy to it. And you can do that by working from the inside out and tapping into your inner desires and becoming who you're truly meant to be. This is what this is saying at the moment. So I'm going to love you and leave you. And unless I think of anything else or I see anything else major, next week I will talk about this stellium in a bit more detail and what it's been doing to us this year, and where we can take hope for next year. But you can already take hope. I promise you can take hope. Right, I'm going to leave you for now, and I will look forward to seeing you next week. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for listening on the podcast as well. Bye for now.